powered by Bilderberg Music Group. I'm your co-host, Forever B, along with my co-host, Prince Lawyer. And today we have a special presentation that we want to present today. Um, Today is the born day of a great person and influence of hip hop culture. Um, his name is Clarence Smith. My brothers call him Clarence X, as well as AKA Father Allah. He has many different attributes. He's the father of the 5% Nation of Islam, formerly known as Nation of Gods and Earth. We thought it would be very honorable to pay homage to him today, being it was his born day, some would call it birthday, and show some of the honoraries and his influences in hip hop culture and some of the things in which he have done within the aspect of the movement in order to bring this to a fruition, to have as many individuals who have came and represented the nation um, through the father's work, some of his teachings and some of the inspiration of what he have did, through his time. So we want to take a moment to shine some light, contributions on him, and things he has done to represent our culture. Peace and harmony to you as well today, my good brother.
Peace and blessing, my brother.
Indeed, most definitely, man. This is definitely a wonderful day, and today for sure, to pay homage to this brother, considering all the things we have went through, and definitely with hip hop, have gotten to at this point within our culture. We recently saw where Nas and DJ Premier had put out an album called Light Years, and they was paying homage to the culture of hip hop, and was speaking about some of the influences as well as the early on times of hip hop and where it have now gotten to. And we think about the culture and some of the people that have been involved with hip hop and that culture in itself, a lot of them came outside of the God Nation of Gods and Earth, formerly known as the 5% Nation of Islam. And a lot of the influences of that culture you can see that were manifested through a lot of those brothers and sisters that came outside that umbrella. So the thing that is very evident that we speak about the father, what they refer to him as Father Allah, um, and some of the things in which he have did to the culture, where he achieve aspects of his own individual self to be able to give us the light and knowledge and some of the influence in which he was able to give to us to be able to reflect and represent that nation as well as hip hop in itself. Or if anything you would like to add on in reference to my brother, please do at this time.
So indeed, yeah, you know, when we speak of hip hop, man, it's hard to speak of hip hop or rap music without that brother and that nation. Because most of the early influences in rap, period, they was out of that nation. They was in those teachings of
Mhm.
freedom, justice, and equality. Of peace. You know what I mean? They were spreading a news of encouraging brothers to be self sufficient, encouraging brothers to put knowledge above everything. Encouraging brothers to put their wills, their woman above everything. Encouraging brothers to put their kids above everything. Teaching family first, teaching values, uh, to take brothers and sisters away from the harsh conditions and the harsh realities in which we were faced with in those times. Those very rough times for us as a people. And for the brother to bring a positive message was definitely peace. So that's why when you got older brothers speak about hip hop, and speak about rap, that's why you got a lot of brothers that's disappointed in some ways because that was an outlet for brothers and sisters to express themselves in a peaceful manner, and be able to express themselves playfully in a time where it was hard to even play. It was so much crucial thing going on in our people, so many elements of destruction going on in our people at that time. So for those brothers to have an outlet to be able to express themselves in a peaceful way and learn how to live righteously amongst each other, and express it through the music, it was definitely a great thing. And we know and understand by that being expressed through music, it allowed for it to grow. It allowed
Mm.
for it to spread, and it spread real far, and it spread greatly as we look at it now today. We have so many country communities, so many brothers that striving for a better life for our people. A lot of those brothers started inside of that nation, and by him bringing that science out of the temples and into the streets, you know, that was a beautiful thing because if a lot of signs, it's just like no more than the church. You know, it's one thing to have it inside of somewhere, and it's another thing for somebody to bring it to you.
Hey,
When you get something brought to you, it's kind of hard to run from something when it's coming to you. If
I
you out
know.
here on the block, or you out here on the corner, or you out here wherever you at, and something positive coming to you, it's kind of hard to avoid it.
Oh,
It's easier for you to avoid something that's in a set place. Well, if you don't go to that set place, you may not very well get it. So it's easy it's just like the library and books. You know, if all the books inside the library and people choose not to go to the library, then they might not never get a book. But if you
hey,
get someone to take the library and bring it to the neighborhoods and communities, well, people don't usually go to the library, then now they got access to the books. So, that was a great thing, what the brother did, as far as taking information and bringing it to a people that was misinformed about
doubt.
themselves, that had low self-esteem about themselves. And like you said, man, the brother definitely February 22nd, 1928 was the day the brother was brought into existence. Brother was from Danville, Virginia. It was definitely very racially segregated, and definitely a bad time in those times, man. It was rough. You talking about the times of Malcolm X, the times of Martin Luther King. You know me talking about the times when we was still getting persecuted just for being the complexion we are, man. Just for that. So by him being able to bring that out to the youth and bring it out to those who wouldn't normally have got that, that was a great achievement on his behalf. That's just some of the of what he brought forth.
No question. Fact. Most definitely. We don't have so much time in this presentation. We may come back and do a follow up on this presentation, considering you see the different achievements that the brother had accomplished throughout his travel, and to be able to come back and to give us the knowledge in which he was able to give us coming outside of the Nation of Islam at that time, and presenting the information to the youth in the way that he did. It was very prevalent and necessary for us to have in order for us to be able to move forward. We know understand that we're speaking about during the so-called civil rights, or so-called during those time periods. A lot of people was dealing with a lot of oppression, a lot of things that was going on at that time, where we were forced to somewhat come together and bind against some of the oppression and things that was going on, around that time period. So during that time, it was evident that you knew, or at least get some understanding about Black pride and understanding how to structure yourself as a unit, at that point, and being that he did some of the things that he did, ultimately his life becomes sacrificed from some of the things in which he did to try to bring the light and information to our people. And we see as To my understanding, he was assassinated in 69, 1969.
Mhm.
And right then, coming into the 70s, where you start to see a lot of the brothers and sisters starting to carry the black pride and so-called black pride and carrying some of the stance that they took on that was coming out of those movements that started to reflect on self-pride and self-love and, seeing themselves as being statues of simplification of gods and what they were labeled as earths.
Mhm.
Where they would be able to now show that we were independent and we had a stance here in America, considering the oppression and the thing that we were going through, coming out of some of the Jim Crow eras and some of the
Mhm.
slave conditions, which we had a kind of pride that's coming out of the out of slavery.
Mhm.
So moving into the 70s and coming into the 80s was very, very prevalent at that time for us as a people, to try to rise up. And we do think about those times, even going back to um, the Cosby Show and Different World,
Mhm.
other shows that was being brought forth when it represented so-called black culture. It had substance in it, you
Mhm.
know, a thing that was showing the black man or woman, rising up or striving to become, greater than what they was labeled as at that time. You know,
Mhm.
so and see some of those brothers who was in those movements and coming outside of the nation and God and earth were
Mhm.
some of the ones that was carrying some of the music and the direction at that time to show the inspiration and some of the pain that we was conflicting at that time to put into the music and the rap to
Mhm.
allow it to be an outlet to help us
Mhm.
heal and channel our inner being.
Mhm.
So many ones, rappers come to mind, as well as singers,
Mhm.
with R&B and
Mhm.
etc. that came
Mhm.
outside that movement.
Mhm.
So we definitely have to pay respect to him in that light on what he did, and he brought to the nation as well as just to the culture as a whole.
Mhm.
Uh, anything
Most
you like, to add, definitely, brother, you can show.
most most definitely, man. You got so many groups, man. You got Arrested Development, you got Black Thought, you got Big Daddy Kane, you got KRS-One, man. You got Grandmaster Flash, the Furious Five, you got the Supreme Team, man. You got so many. I mean, I could go on and on and on. They're just named Busta Rhymes. You got LL Cool J. You got, man. I mean, when I say the list goes on, that just easily come off the top of Eric B and Rakim. You got, I
Right.
mean, Slick Rick. You got Nas. You got, man. When I said the list is, man. When I said the list is something. Man, it's some you got Wu Tang, you got I mean
Mm.
the lit AZ, you got Capone Noriega. I mean, when I said pretty much everybody, I mean,
Dog,
man,
brother.
even all the way to the
Dude.
West Coast, man, the brother behind Ice T, the brother behind Ice T music, um, Islam, Atlantic Islam. I can't think of the first name, but Islam was the last name. But even those brothers over in the West even had got introduced to it. Even it was over there as well. You know what I mean? So by that science being converted to so many artists, you know what I mean, it allowed it to spread. You know, it
Mm.
allowed the spread. The eels was hearing it. You know, and it
Mm.
was so much peace and diggable planets. I mean, Q-Tip. I mean, you got man. When I said it's when I said the names is it's so many. I mean that was and
Right.
you see that was a lot of names, but that's just a few.
Yeah, no
You
doubt.
know, when you go to the influence in which was caused from what that brother brought, and keep in mind the brother even had his own travel. Brother been in the war, man. Brother been in the Korean
Right.
War. Brother went
Definitely.
over there and had got medals, man. The brother was actually fighting. The brother when standing around, hiding in the tent. Now the brother was out there active duty. The brother was out there
Definitely.
fighting in the Korean War, man. The brother came back with medals. The brother actually was a martial arts expert. Brother taught he was an FOI. He taught martial arts inside Temple Number 7 in Harlem. You know what I mean? And
Indeed.
he was so influential because he didn't allow those young brothers to make excuses. You know, he didn't allow he brought a knowledge, but he brought it in a militant stance. He brought it in a militant stance. So it was like, you got your OGs in the hood, so to speak. You got your older heads in the hood that come to you and say, man, boy, get right, man. Pull your pants up. You know what I mean? Look here, man. Listen to right here. And next time I see you, better know it, man. I'm gonna put these hands on you. You know, he would basically, in a lot of ways, he was making those young brothers stand up. He was making those young brothers learn things. He wouldn't question nothing. He was paying them, getting them money and all. Say, okay, when you get it this time, okay, I'll give you a couple dollars. You have it. You have it. You have it when I see you again. I got $5 for you. Or whatever it took for him to get those brothers to learn, he did. He accomplished a great that. We know how hard it is to speak to the youth sometimes. We know how stubborn they can get. And a lot of times, a lot of our youth, they'll run from these institutions because they know what's inside them. They know the preacher. They know the
Right.
preacher or the priest or the imam or somebody finna put some fire on their head that they might not be really wanting to get that fire. You know, so when he brought it to them, you couldn't run from it, man. Oh, there you go, there he come. He had a couple brother with him as well. So man, they were getting on them young brother, man, and then get what he was a martial art expert now.
Right.
Brother
No
been in
doubt.
Korea, he been in Korean War. So what you gonna do? Buck up at him?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Right.
You either gonna learn or you gonna either. I mean, he brought it in a way where it was kind of where he made the young brothers actually respect it. But when they start learning, they understood that it was good for them. It did
Indeed.
them good. It changed a lot of their lives, man. It was so influential that he even had the mayor of New York, man, at the time. He loved the father, man. You know,
Mm-hmm.
to where they donated the school. The school's still there right now. Our law school in Mecca is still there. Due to the brother
Mm-hmm.
contributions to the neighborhood as far as bringing peace, man, to the community. Like I said, brother, definitely, we'll have to get back on this. We'll have to definitely have a part two to this because there's so much
Right.
behind us, man. We just going through briefly, giving y'all a brief overlook of the subject here. Hey,
Was definitely. Absolutely. Like you say, is a lot that he definitely achieved and he gave to our culture. And to see where the culture is at today for his hip hop, we can definitely say that it does exist and it have its way. We look at some of the aspect of the movements and we ask that, or sometimes we seek that the involvement of us from a cultural standpoint could be a lot more together in one minute, considering the knowledge and all that he did by striving to make the sacrifices that he did at that time to give us the information. So for the aspect of the culture and for it moving forth, even with hip hop, that's why you see brothers like Nas and like I say, DJ Premier and those brothers taking stands, trying to make sure that's still alive. That the traditions and the love and the respect of the culture and all of the mothers and forefathers who came prior get the respect that they deserve for what the blood, sweat, and tears that they have put into the movements as a whole. A lot of brothers lost their lives. A lot of brothers institutionalized. Um, a lot of brothers were scrutinized and etc. in the name of freedom, justice, and equality. For the liberation of our people. So we look back on all that was done and some of the influences that was coming out of the 50s and coming into the 60s and all the things that he was doing to strive to get the people of the youth to gather the information and knowledge in which he was striving to give at that time. Like the brother said, it definitely wasn't an easy job indeed to do, considering the people and our people at that time, some of them didn't have no more than third grade education. So a
Mhm.
lot of them was in an impaired state, and he didn't go amongst the one that was already high, had information or knowledge, or was very educated. He was dealing with the lowest of the low. But
Mhm.
he stated just as they stated that he would make the lowest of the low become the highest of the high. So
Mhm.
his duty was indeed to give them the knowledge and the information that will allow them to become what we refer to as self-sufficient and to
Mhm.
become self-made in some respect. So to see the influence and the things that we went through coming in the 60s and ultimately entering the 70s, looking at all the things that the so-called Black Panthers and the movements at that time had accounted as well from all of the consciousness and the contribution that the
Mhm.
whole nation was bringing forth all together as a whole. Like we stated earlier, there would be no 5% nation of God on earth, excuse me, 5% nation of Islam, formerly known as nation of God on earth, if there wasn't a nation of Islam. Right?
Mhm.
So we understand that those charters or pinnacles of that time that was being carried and passed down through that
Mhm.
time period, that eventually that brother was able to leave outside of those movements and give some of the direction to the youth and some of the people of our time that was going through those conditions that they were. And
Mhm.
the spark of the consciousness at that time is what allowed them to be able to rise up, to seek and want more, and to pour their intelligence and their hearts into the music to where it will become an art and an outlet that we'll be able to use to take care of our families, also and embrace some of our hardships that we was going through.
Mhm.
So definitely much respect and love to this brother and
Mhm.
him taking his time and having the love in his heart and Allah and God placing that through his will to
Mhm.
want to help his people and to take them out of those conditions that they were dealing with at that time.
Mhm.
Mm. Mm. If
Definitely.
anything you want to add on, my brother, you definitely can this time before we
Most definitely.
wrap up that presentation.
Most definitely. You know, you hear and that's another reason why we definitely want to speak on it because we look back and you hear about Martin Luther King, getting assassinated. You hear about Malcolm X getting assassinated. You very seldom hear about Clarence 13X getting assassinated, But guess what? He got assassinated as well,
Mm.
you know. He got assassinated as well. That's something to keep in mind, So that we want to shed some light on that because we know and understand that this is Black History Month as well,
No question.
So definitely food for thought. And
Mhm.
I always teach the young ones that I got here with me that we must be able to know more about our history than just what they tell us in school. You
Mhm.
got the same names get brought up in school. You know how
Mhm.
many names that don't get brought up? You Man,
Mhm.
when I tell you we got history.
Mhm.
And it's important to
Right.
know our history. If it's important to know their history, why it ain't
Mhm.
important to know our own history? This
Question.
is this is very serious because if you know your history, you might not repeat the mistakes you made. So
Mhm.
it's good to know your history because then it can help you advance your future. And that's why we know and understand that the music is so influential and it is so relevant and it's so prevalent that we keep hip hop alive. you know. And we mention these brothers, man, and we mention these brothers and sisters that died for the cause just for us to be able to do what we doing right now. You know,
Hey.
we take so much stuff for granted, these days. A lot of these younger generation, they taking so much for granted because they don't realize what brothers and sisters had to go through that came before them, you know.
No.
So we want to raise awareness by celebrating this brother here, man, because he actually died for what he stood for, man. He died for this, man.
Right.
Anybody that can come out here and put their life on the line just to teach you something good, definitely honorable. You know, it's an honorable situation, an honorable man. You know, and definitely pay homage to the brother, man. All due respect.
No doubt, my brother. Absolutely. Yeah, he definitely did, brother. He sacrificed his life, for the cause, and to see where the state of we're at as a people, we would say that we have to also try to take initiative now and take a stance and try to activate more of those principles. When I look back at some of those movements and where they're at today, and looking at ourselves as the people for the economical stance that we should hold in the position that we should be taking to try to become more self-sufficient and then become more independent and eventually create things that we can call our own. We have to learn how to fashion ourselves and learn to truly unify. Look, when I look at the aspect of the movements and where we're going, I do see where there could be a bit of a stagnation from the aspects of where the growth should be. Like I said, when you start speaking about all of the brothers and sisters that was involved with hip hop and their contributions to it, you would think that the brother and sister would have enough resources to be able to now combine together to do something more for the culture. So we are encouraging all brothers and sisters who do travel inside those movements, as well as those who are not, that you can donate something toward the cause, or you can contribute more so to the movement. We ask that you do so, because we all are still striving to sustain ourselves and help the youth to better educate ourselves and to do things more so we could be sufficient enough to be able to just take care of ourselves and do more for our people. So we encourage everyone, if you haven't, please go out, do some information on this brother as well as the nation. Again, the nation of gods and earth is what the brothers represent. And he did a lot again for our people and the different things in which they was able to accomplish along the way. So we thought it would be evident that we speak on this brother, being that it's his born day and all the things that he did gave to the culture in itself, as well as what he gave to hip hop culture. Anything you would like to add on, my brother? Final thought, my brother, you could definitely add on at this time, my brother.
One thing the brother used to always tell him, the cream rises to the top. And when the brother used to say that, he meant the babies, man. You know, he meant the youth, man. You know, we gotta start thinking about our youth, man. We gotta start thinking about those who watching us, man. Those who coming behind us. We got to do better, man. You know, we got to put the violence down and we got to promote peace and love, man. And love each other, you know, and do the right thing by each other. That way our kids can see these things. They can see that they kings and queens, man. They ain't got to be peasants, man. You know, that's all I want to say on that for now, man. Peace and blessings to you all out there, man.
Absolutely, brother. Definitely. As you stated, man, it's on us to be able to give more to our people, to be able to help educate the youth. Like you say, the babies, they're indeed are the best part. That's the understanding. And we must continue to give understanding to all our people. That's why we say we all should be students to knowledge. We should all remain babies to knowledge, always striving to receive more, and continue to elevate ourselves. When we look at the culture in itself at this time, we see that there was a positive movement that was there that was speaking about excellence and upliftment. Now we find a lot of killing and destruction, a lot of demonic principles that's being carried out in the name of hip hop, as well as the music industry as a whole. So we must now take a stand to bring it back to the peace, bring it back to the right side, allow the gods and the ancestral energy they evolve in good and well being, and not destruction and chaos. I don't know if you all are familiar, if y'all heard about this young rapper by the name of Lucifer. Get a chance, do some research on him as well. This is where the culture has gotten to. All right. So it's evident that we come back to start bringing more peace, more positivity, and more righteousness in the way in which we do present ourselves into this culture. And if you are a young artist or someone who just coming into music and you're going into the entertainment world, make sure that you read your contracts, make sure you understand the nature of the business before you go in there. You don't want to find yourself being sacrificed or a tool or end up selling your soul to the devil for a small fee.
Mm-hmm.
And if you haven't, please like and subscribe to the channel. If you like to leave in the comments, please leave some comments in the comment section. We do thank you for tuning in to another episode of Streets is Watching. I'm your host, Forever B, along with my co-host, Prince Lawyer. And anything you have to say, my brother, before we wrap it up, you can, my brother.
Peace and blessing to you all out here in this so-called Black History Month. But we know Black History is every day if you're black.
It's a good question, my dear brother. The struggle is always going to be real, but
True
we'll
indeed.
get through it. Indeed, my brother. Well, I thank you again, brother. My co-host Prince Lawyer, man. I'm your co-host Prince, Forever B. I thank you all again for tuning in. Until next time, and thank you again, my brother, for tuning in with me. Good brother.
Much respect, brother.
I send my peace and love out to you all.
Peace and love.
Peace.
Peace.